Oh, I don't see the countdown.
You didn't. Well, we're here. It's Two Guys, One Coup. Episode, what number? Six. Yeah, episode six. Episode 6. So, again, anybody who is, following us on YouTube and watching this, thank you very much. Like and subscribe. That would be very nice and very appreciative. And we're getting a lot of good feedback still. And here we are doing it again. It's Two Guys, One Coup. It's Jim and I. And, we talk about a lot of politics and sports and, some other topics that occur on a day-to-day basis that affect us. I'm just kind of briefly going over the show again, if you're just kind of watching this one to start. Some of the Happy New Year, by the way, to you.
Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Maybe I'll even ask you what some New Year's resolutions are later, but mine's pretty simple. None. But I don't really, I never abide by them, by the time,
maybe
around, at least.
I think I've made it a couple. I think I've made it as far as March on some of them.
That's good.
That's been about
That's
it.
Super good. Yeah. I think, if I made it to February 1st on any resolution, I couldn't tell you what it is. Except to maybe eat more. I follow that one year round. But we're going to discuss some things today. We got a lot to discuss. We're going to do some interesting information. Jim has some research on Black Lives Matter movement, which should be very interesting to hear. I have some topics on liberal companies and maybe some alternatives to those liberal companies that you can use. Some of them might be a little regional, but you'll get the point of the whole thing. We have our top 5 list, which is top 5 solo female artists, which was, I got to be honest with you, very difficult for me. So I'm more of a band guy. So it's really, I had this disheartened between, that's lead singer of a band, to what my top 5 female solo artists would be. And you'll probably be surprised by a number of them. So
it wasn't as hard. I mean, there was a couple I could have put in there, but I didn't. Yeah. But my number 5 isn't going to surprise you at all. But we'll really talk about that when we get towards the end.
Yeah. I mean, I think I feel I'm going to be surprised by all of them.
Well, let me rephrase this. When I say her name. And then if you know anything about her from, and stuff like that, then, I have this, I have a thing for a certain hair color, right? So
I can almost guess now.
So, okay. So we'll go over that when we get closer to it.
Yeah. It's blue hair, the color, right? The old ladies whose hair turned blue.
Love it.
That's who you got a thing for. Yeah, it's awesome. But anyways, we're going to do that. Got a couple, maybe a story on some of the numbers came out for the media viewership for Q3 of 2021. Which, if you have
curious to hear that,
if you've not heard or seen any data on it, pretty interesting. Especially who number 1 was. We'll review that. We have, I believe, an AOC and Schumer of the week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
I do have one. Mine's a Schumer. So we'll talk about that later. But right now, if we want, we can just kind of get into things. And if you want to kind of go into the BLM, I'm super interested in hearing this. I have not. Okay. So we can kind of step forward into that right away and see what that's all about.
Well, I want to start out because I always wondered, when you have organizations like this that become incorporated, where and it's all basically on donations, and then you see how much money is flowing in there. You kind of look around and you see, okay, all right, that's great. All right, they're raising money for a cause. Where's it going?
Yeah,
where's it? And I had always been asking that. Always have been asking what's going on. Is anybody watching these guys? And then over time, I just say, you know what, I'm going to look into this a little bit. And I have here and there and everything. But it's Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation is what the main incorporated portion of their business, and they're not
legal incorporated name.
Yes,
right?
and they're a nonprofit. They're a nonprofit. Okay,
interesting.
So you know what that means. When donors donate to them, you're donating to a fund, right? So you're donating to a charity, basically. So as you're donating, you could do it anywhere, but you can anything donations or anything else can be taxed. But when you're doing it to a charity like that, depending on the percentage you get, so now you add that to it, and it's like, okay, now this is really interesting. Okay, so anyway, well, I looked it up, and Black Lives Matter, if you didn't know, for those of you, started in 2013. It was because of George Zimmerman with the Trayvon Martin case.
I thought it started Ferguson, but you're right. You're right about that.
Well, it started then, and also Brown and Ferguson. Okay, yep. So they all came on, and it was basically about how blacks are viewed by police. That's really how it all started. Let's get out there, and it's been it's kind of engulfed from that to it's still about that civil rights and all that stuff, but it's kind of moved everything about African Americans doing this, doing that, and just becoming and which I have absolutely no problem with. Because when I go into this, I've never had a problem with the people who go out and peacefully protest that say Black Lives Matter. I've never had a problem with that, and I never will, because that's what this country was founded on.
God-given right to do that.
And I will never know struggle of being African American. I will not know that. So I'm all for that. I was never for the corporation. I was never for the people at the top. It's ran by this Patrice Cullors for now.
Okay.
She's actually stepping down, and we're going to discuss some things why. Well, Black Lives Matter has been pushed by a lot of people, mostly from in their own groups. All right. There's different chapters in different cities for Black Lives Matter, and they all basically report to the main person, and that the main people are supposed to divvy up the money that they get.
Okay.
Well, finally, because I know there's some discussions about since their inception, they've made close to $1 billion.
$1 billion?
Okay? Well, there's some discussion on that. It was never, because no one really knows, because they're not showing their financial output.
They don't report it.
Let's just put it this way. It's in the hundreds of millions.
Wow.
And it is probably pretty close to $1 billion at this point, because in 2020, they did $90 million.
$90 million.
$90 million in 2020. All right. So
now
nobody knows who the people are that are donating money, because they're not saying where the money's coming from.
They're anonymous donations?
They're not anonymous. They're not anonymous. Okay. And again, if you donate to a charity, that's none of anybody else's business. So I don't necessarily care who's donating to them or how much. What I care about is what they're doing with that money.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm going to give you my thought process here at the end on what I think's going on here, and I don't like it. And I hope African Americans won't like it either.
Yeah.
But because I got later on, I have this reverend, rooftop reverend from Chicago that had some interesting things. And if I was going to donate money to a cause like this, I would donate to him, and I'll explain why as we go.
All right.
But so they call these hashtag BLM 10. Okay. This is the group of 10 chapters that are now questioning where this money's going.
Okay, so they're
chapters in themselves. Yes, because they've been given anywhere from $800 to $69,000.
Oh my God!
And so now we haven't heard this because it's been kept internally. Okay, but these chapters have been asking for transparency. We know there's money going in there. We know how much money's going in. Let us know where it's coming. Let us know who's going on. And who's getting it. And so this chapter has basically fought back and said, this isn't right. You know, we need to be for clarity. And of course, Patrice Cullors, who happens to have a $1 million home in Southern California.
Nice.
You know,
yeah,
go figure that one out, right? She's saying that that with all the, you know, giving money out to the different chapters and then paying and all that stuff, there's not as much money out there as you think. Okay. Well, after all their expenses from what they said was like $8 million. All right.
May I ask? Yep. I don't want to interrupt the story because this is super interesting to me. But their expenses, are their expenses bricks and Molotov cocktails? Or, I mean, what are their expenses?
Their expenses are people. They have people that get paid within their organization.
Yep.
That's their
paid
expense.
to protest?
Because, yes.
Right?
Paid, okay. Well, I think some of them are.
Well,
and some of them
are. We know that. Yeah.
But now they said that they committed ask questions. They committed $21.7 million in grant funding to BLM chapters, both unofficial and official. Well, sorry, when you hear unofficial, you know, it's not.
Yeah, what's unofficial?
So the remaining balance in 2020 is $60 million. Okay. Yeah. So the chapters are saying, okay, the $60 million and what you've given us, which was the 21.7, where's the rest of it?
Yeah.
Right? Because one thing that I've asked about, and you and I have talked about this many times, and I'm not at all, you know, I am not at all trying to dissuade Black Lives Matter. That's not what this is. But what this reverend says when I get to him is very interesting on who they seem to be going after. And it's like what you and I have always talked about. It's the white apologists that drive us nuts.
Oh, of course.
You know, it's the white people that are made to feel guilty that, you know, racism. So I'm going to go out and prove that I'm not. And they're the most annoying ones, right?
Yeah.
So, but this Patricia Cullors, with all of her excuses and all of this, you know, and not just her, but all the people within the head of the Black Lives Matter, they're just not transparent. They're not. Okay. Yeah. So, but now 17 chapters have now broken away from Black Lives Matter. And this is according to New York Times. All right.
They started their own.
Yes. They're using the Black Lives Matter. Yeah. But they're going a different route with it and what they're doing. And look, I have absolutely no problem with that. But you remember Michael Brown?
I do.
Okay. Michael Brown was the one in Ferguson that was killed. His father was fighting back a little bit, not fighting, but he kind of, and this is what he said. I just feel like all these organizations that were made after someone had lost their loved one. And they see that these parents are coming up with organizations already. They should be able to get on board and support these families that's going through this. So he's basically, now look, I disagree with the statement in here about, you know, Michael Brown was killed, the unarmed black man that was killed by a police officer.
Correct.
Folks, look it up. Okay. Yep. He may not have been armed, but this guy was a big guy, and he was running down in a bull-like fashion to run this police officer down, and he had no choice but to take him. And there was witnesses, black and white, that confirmed his story in the trial, this police officer's story in the trial. So again, though, Black Lives Matter is using some of these issues with white police shooting black people, and that's what they use this mostly for. Now, you and I, in some instances, disagree because we are, you know, we want to overreact before we find out what really happened. And so, you know, we got to George Floyd. We got, you know, people like that it's like George Floyd's not completely innocent. This police officer should have lost his job. Yes, he should have. Correct. But this police officer should not be in prison for murder because he did not kill him. So. But anyway, this is how they get their money. This is what happens when in 2020 being the way that it was, right? You know, with the evil Donald Trump as president, and we needed to look all this stuff. That's how they got most of their money, $90 million. Now, that's what they've reported. We don't know. We haven't seen anything on it.
Well, that's right. That's all. That's the number we're being told.
Yeah. So right now, Cullors her wealth has come into light amidst the controversy surrounding BLM financing. Some theorize that she takes a large salary from the donation after buying an expensive home in Southern California. Of course, she denies these claims, but some continue to speculate her retirement was strategically timed. Strategically timed. Yes, she's retiring. She is stepping down.
She is. All right.
Yeah, but
she got
she's
caught?
saying, but it has nothing to no. She says it has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with the transparency issues and stuff like that. And it's yeah.
Wow.
And,
Who's so what I'd love to know,
the 17 group chapters have put so much pressure on her. The media hasn't. All right.
No.
These are their own people, which I think is very good, because it's like African Americans, you're being taken advantage of by your own people. By your own people.
Correct.
And it's like, come on, it's like we're almost getting there. We're almost getting to the point where it's like, you know what, they're right. People like us, the bigger people than us, that talk about it and have their own shows and everything, that have been saying that. Democrats have been using them, and but there's another individual who's a writer and activist and a leading voice for Black Lives Matter, Sean King. Now, he's been the subject of controversy with regards to fundraising. Okay, you can get this.
Okay, sorry, did I blow that story?
No. Okay. So, not really. It's good. I'm glad you knew him. I'm glad you knew him. Some say he is a white man with 2 Caucasian parents who is claiming to be biracial for personal gain. Now, don't know the man. Don't know his parents. I don't either. Haven't talked to him. I have no idea. But this is just another example of a white apologist doing what he's doing. And it's wrong. And
which reminds me, Jim, of Rachel Dolezal. Do you remember that name? Rachel Dolezal was the white woman who made herself look African American and was running the NAACP, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I should not have even brought it up if I don't know my facts 100%, but I believe that to be true. But go on. So it's another example of what I feel is white guilt in a way.
Yes.
So it leaves them, or it's an opportunity for them to say, "Hey, I can come across as this and make myself famous and a bunch of money and take advantage of the African community again."
How much money would you like to know the NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA basketball has given to this organization?
Do you know that information?
No, because
neither. How would we know?
They don't have to report it, right?
Yeah,
so now I think it's gonna, and I'll get into this more, but they are starting, quote unquote, starting this year, and they're going to start, and I'll get to the story on that here in a minute. That they are starting to give back. All right, haven't yet, but they're going to start giving back. Because
who's going to give back? What do you mean?
The Black Lives Matter movement
is going to give money back.
So okay. You and I, what do you think Black Lives Matter global network should have done amidst the riots in Minneapolis? All those African American companies that were destroyed, right?
Absolutely.
All these minority,
absolutely
give money back to help them build.
They should have denounced it and said that's not what this organization is about. Secondly, they should have given that money to those businesses that got destroyed, urban businesses that were destroyed during the riots all across the country, not just there, all across.
And also community centers. Invest in these communities.
In
all right,
schools. And you name it.
Invest in education, which is the only way this is going to get fixed.
Correct.
Is through education. I'm sorry, it's through education and not the education that's going on now. Because the more we convince these kids or tell these kids that you're here, you're where you're at, and your family's where you're at because they're black. Yeah, and that is what they're basically being told, guys. We are not making this up. We are not saying that. This is what they are being told.
Yep.
And you've got people like the African Americans who are succeeding out there, the Tim Scotts, the Candace Owens, the Ben Carsons, and all of these multiple people. This pastor, Corey Brooks, that I'm going to talk about. God, this guy is awesome. I may not agree with a lot of his politics, but what he wants done, this man's amazing.
Yeah.
And
I've never
listen
heard
to
of
them. Listen to them. Well, okay. So Corey Brooks is a pastor. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I've got to. He's a pastor, and he's on his 44th day of his 100-day rooftop vigil, and he is trying to in Chicago. I'm sorry, in Chicago.
In Chicago, okay.
Yes, he's trying to send a message to Gordon Lightfoot and all the other people within Lori Lightfoot within all the mayor, that we want to draw attention to. This has got to stop.
Yeah.
All right. The innocent murdering of people in African Americans in the city, South Side Chicago is what he's talking about mostly.
Yep.
And he's just trying to send a message saying, hey, we got to fix this, but we got to fix it within ourselves. Mm-hmm. All right. We can't expect other people to be out there to give us money to fix it. Money doesn't fix it. He says we have to fix it ourselves. We have to build from within. And this guy's amazing. I didn't know a whole lot about him until I researched this, because I wanted to find out. While I was researching it, I researched oppositions to Black Lives Matter from Black African American people, and this was one of the big ones. And it was a really he does this podcast, if you will. He does this up on the rooftop, and this particular day he had two guests, and I'm going to really screw up this first name, so I apologize, but it's Dumasani Washington, who is the CEO of the Institute for Black Solidarity with Israel, and a gentleman called Darwin Giles Jr., who is a former ethic vice chairman of the Michigan Republican Party.
Oh, okay.
So these guys were on the roof with him, and then he basically asked the question. He goes, what has Black Lives Matter done to our community? What have they done to any community out there?
Yeah.
And so he goes, I've been questioned about this Pastor Brooks is talking. I've been questioned about my not-for-profit doing what we do right here on O Block in Chicago. The one question that stands out in my mind that I woke up thinking about is, what has Black Lives Matter done for our community? Mm-hmm. Now, Washington said you can use the issue of bringing some awareness to some of these very high profile situations, like in Ferguson, that type of thing. But as a whole, my answer to that question is not very much. Not only that, there has been some detriment where the Black community is concerned. Now, these are African Americans that are saying this, guys. These are not us in anything. So, and so I highlighted some comments that the pastor said. Now he has a project. I haven't investigated this project very much, but he has a project called HOOD, and he wants to sell it to the public. And it's. I thought about that, and I thought, well, we sell hard work. Mm-hmm. We sell that the individual has to take responsibility and accountability for their life. We sell that racism is not the biggest problem that we face. We sell that capitalism is extremely important for us getting out of poverty. That's what we sell.
Wow.
Amen to this guy.
Amen is right. Amen
because
is right.
That is what we have been saying.
Yep.
But the tone of our skin, they're not going to listen.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I don't blame them sometimes for that. It's like World War II. Okay, there's a lot. This is so off topic, but in a way, it puts a face and a person to the enemy. You had all sorts of enemies in World War II, but Hitler's the guy, right? And rightfully so.
Yep.
The atrocities he committed definitely earns him that title of being the guy to be hated during World War II. It's kind of like that. There's a name and a face to it. Even though, someday we can get into the history of slavery and how slavery really began in this country. The white guy is the guy, right? So in general, it's the white guy.
Well, if you need,
so that's why it's hard for them to listen to us, except for those who know, what the real issues are. So go on. I'm sorry.
Well, no, that's an excellent point. We have to put a face to the enemy, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so the enemy happens to be the rich white guy. That's the enemy right now that they're going after. Now let's
if your name's George Soros.
Unless you're a Democrat. Unless you're a Democrat, a D behind your name. So they're worse. They're worse than anyone. But this Giles goes in. This Giles, the Michigan Republican for Ethics, there's a proposal to eliminate a certain amount of school loan debt. And I understand, and I support that. So but what is better, he continued, it's Giles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You being able to have enough money to not only pay off your own debt, but to start a business and invest, and you own and take full authority and control over your destiny, or just basically let the government give you something that's going to cancel your debt, but never actually put you in a position to give you the free market enterprise solutions.
Exactly. Bingo.
Now, I love these guys. I absolutely love, and I'm serious. I am absolutely, he's on this 100-day rooftop vigil, and I'm going to go out and I might just give money to him.
Yeah.
Because this is where that money should go.
Yep.
NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, all of these, NHL. You're going to donate money to this guy. People like him, because there's more people like him throughout this country.
Correct.
They're just not being said because it goes against what the Democrats and what the hardline
and where are you
Black Lives Matter people
see those people? You're not going to see them on ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC.
No.
That's
you have to do what I do. You have to go out and look. You have to go and search.
Do your own research. Correct.
And because this is how it's going to get fixed. And there's more people like this pastor out there. There's more people like saying, look, because how many times have we said you can, when the stimulus came out, hey, it's great. Everybody gets the money initially.
Mm-hmm.
But that money's not going to keep coming.
No.
A lot of people were able to pay off bills. A lot of people were able to do this. So there was some good that came out of some of that stimulus. There really was. Okay. Yeah. I don't necessarily agree with stimulus, but in the times that we're going through, it actually worked pretty well. How we're going to pay for it, that's another issue. And unfortunately, our children and grandchildren are going to have to worry about that. Yep. But it's like but then when that money stops coming, what are you going to do? And that's what these guys are saying to these African-American people. It's like, it's great to get
stop eventually.
Yeah, it's great to get this money.
Yep.
Yeah. So here, I'll leave from where I'm standing. There's a brand that tries to make white people feel guilty. It tries to make them feel as if they need to support something so that they don't feel like they are racist. This is what the pastor said. Yeah. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, that's not my brand. I believe capitalism works. I believe individual responsibility works. I believe the dignity for having work works. I believe that government will never solve our problem and come in and save us. Wow. God bless this
are you
pastor.
Kidding me?
Get
this guy on our show.
Pastor. I would love to read. If we donate money to it, but go out and look at Project Hood. I've started looking at it. I didn't have time to do it, but
I'm going to look at it.
This guy is fantastic, and folks, Black Lives Matter. You're going to start seeing this. You're going to start seeing them donating money to inner cities. You're going to start seeing them do that. That's good, but unfortunately, it's 9 years too late.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Excuse me, 8 years too late. Mm-hmm. This should have been investing in there. Now, here's the thing I'm going to end with. Okay, and the reason why I said earlier on that you got to follow the money. And when you follow the money and that money stops, the following of that money stops at a certain point. Here's why I think there's been no look into this, no further into this. And by the way, they're actually going to have to finally start filing a 990 report form for the IRS. Are you kidding me? They're going to start doing this?
After.
What the heck?
Yeah, exactly.
So here's what I think. I think it's a fundraising arm of the Democrat Party. I think a lot of that money that they have made over time goes to Democrat candidates, Democrat Party,
absolutely,
for them to come into positions.
Now, don't you have to report money going to?
Yes, you do.
To
over a certain amount of money. over a certain amount of money, you have to report to it. Yes.
What is that number? I need to find out. I can't.
Well, I can guarantee you they give this mass group of money. I guarantee it's going to the Democratic Party, and then they're dispersing it how they want to disperse it.
How they want to disperse it. Or
so yes, it needs to be out there on where the money's coming from. Okay, so because not-for-profit organizations should not then give money to politics. Because what is that when you are a person who donates to charity, what are you hoping happens? That money goes to who needs it, right?
That's correct. That's right. Every charity you donate to.
That's why we give to Wounded Warriors. We give to all of these projects that helps, because we know 100% of that money goes towards those people. All right, that need it. We had the thing with the big group many years ago. Big Brothers Big Sisters, they had their thing, and then found out that they had some real serious issues. And the other one I can't think of off the top of my head. But anyway, when these organizations are an organization of fundraising, you have so much money coming in. You have so much money, and it's like you got to trust in people. Yeah. Because just because somebody says, I'm the head of an organization that fundraises to help disadvantaged people, doesn't mean that person's a good person. Yeah. It does not mean that person is a good person. And we see it all the time. We see money has a way of changing people. And Black Lives Matter, the money that has gone into there, I really do, Dale. I hope I see Black Lives Matter investing in the communities.
Why would that be an issue for anybody?
Give money to this pastor. Donate the money to this pastor who's Project Hood, who's trying to fix. But the reason why you don't hear it is because it's not on. It doesn't meet the Democrats' agenda.
It doesn't.
This guy.
You can't sit there and talk about being an entrepreneur and starting your own path in life to build your way out of the mess you're in, right? You can't do that while you have the newscasters and the mainstream media telling you how, democracy stinks, how, capitalism is bad. They're never going to report on something like that. So it's going to take, podcasts. It's going to take people to get this guy's message out there. And he obviously has a podcast. And I'm seriously going to look him up because, that's just not something you're ever going to see on your own. You've got to research it. So and that was good, man. It's good information.
Because he said he believes in capitalism. He believes that and I know there's a lot of people out there that say capitalism only helps the wealthy. No, that's not true. Capitalism, where you want to be in life, helps anybody. Yeah, there's going to be millionaires and billionaires out there, folks, because there's people that took risk. There's people that take risk. And those individuals need to be rewarded. Okay, so if you're out there thinking, I don't know how anybody could spend $1 billion, for all these individuals that make $1 billion. Well, you know what? Try coming up with an idea. That's an idea that helps people, an idea that, and all of these billionaires are not evil. Correct. Okay, they're not. They're bad. There's some bad people out there. I'm not going to say they're
bad
not.
People everywhere.
In every portion, whether it's poverty level or up to the billionaires. There's bad people everywhere. And what the problem is that we're seeing right now is these stories like this pastor needs to get out. Because this is how it's going to get fixed. The Democrats don't want people to know that. The Democrats want you, as African Americans, to show up 2 times a year or 2 times every 4 years.
Yep.
Okay.
That's right.
Every 2 years and every 4 years. That's all they want you to do.
Election. That's it.
They don't want you. They want you to be quiet. They're more worried about helping these illegals crossing into our border and taking care of them and making sure they become voters. They're more worried about them than they are. Exactly.
I think they're really honestly finding that they're starting to lose the African American vote a bit.
I hope so.
And that's been proven and shown. And with the Trump election, it was. And so where's their next group of people going to come from? Well, let's go get this group. And that's the illegals from Guatemala, and from Mexico, and from Honduras, from all of them. Bring them on in, and that's drive them to the polls. and get their votes that way.
Yep.
People, if you don't know this information, and if you really, you got to wake up. It's time to wake up. It literally is time to wake up. And I'd like to ask the African American community, what has the current administration done for them? What have they done to improve their lives or to assist in improving their lives?
Go one step further, Dale.
And don't tell me, give me, more stimulus money, because we know that's not the answer. No. It's a temporary fix. It's a Band-Aid. Yes. But go on. Yeah.
Well, go one step further, asking him what Barack Obama did for him. What did Barack Obama do for him?
Agreed. Yeah.
Other than it gave them pride. All right, here's this.
Absolutely.
He's biracial, but African American, for whatever it is, no matter what this is, no matter who that guy was, that was a sense of pride. Yeah, because he made it. So. He became the highest, most powerful man in the world. Now, whether I like his politics, whether I think that man should have been him, is a whole nother issue.
Agreed.
Okay. Agreed. But the fact that he did it and the fact that he's there. And but he did nothing for the African American people. I mean, look where he moved to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Right. He moved with a whole bunch of rich white people.
That's right.
And it's like, if you wanted to show that you are who, you are them, you follow the African Americans' plight and all that, then you know what? Go back to Chicago.
Go back to
live in Chicago. Right. There's suburbs in Chicago you can live in.
Absolutely.
You don't have to move out to what, the Hamptons? Is that where he lives?
I think so. I think that's where he lives.
Yeah. Because I guarantee you, you and I and 20 other people that we know combined couldn't buy a house there.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
you're right.
But
you're right.
Look,
good story.
Being taken advantage.
I mean, good information, dude.
Well, and said, look, there's more to this out there. We only have a certain amount of time. We can talk about it, but I ask people out there, go look it up. Look it up. Go look and see. And one thing that I looked at, I put Black Lives Matter investing in communities. Yeah. And the only thing that I saw was that report that came up that said that they're going to start now, but to be more transparent now, well, they should have done this before. So if they finally start doing this, if they finally start giving money to build communities up, to build community centers, because that's what this pastor wants to do. He wants to build a community center, and in the community center, these kids have somewhere to go, and he's going to educate them. There's going to be educating in this, and this is what has to happen, and it's got to be guys like him. Yeah, because unfortunately, they're not going to listen to us. We're just white
who's
people.
Who's taking over Black Lives Matter now? Who's going to be the person in charge?
They have not put that person in yet. She is still there. As a matter of fact, she's not now because she was stepping down at the end of the year. So I have not seen who's been moved into that position yet. Probably should have looked it up and see if they've put somebody in.
Position? Do we know? Was she the founder of it? I mean, is she the one?
Yeah, she was a big. No, she was a big.
Who is she?
She was one of the. She was just one of the big pushers of Black Lives Matter. She was. I didn't do a background on her. Probably should have.
No,
but I can.
No, you should.
But she was an individual that she did. She started. She was one of the initial ones that started Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. Okay.
For what it was worth, and now, like you and I talk about, whether we agree on how they protest or what they protest, if you feel that you have been discriminated against today, then you need to report that, because now more than ever, you have control today over anything that you have more opportunities out there to succeed today than your parents had, than their parents had. So so let's stop talking about what happened 40, 50 years ago and beyond. Okay. We got to stop. That's not good. We want to learn from it, because you got to know what happened so we can keep moving forward.
Well, but it's just like everything in history. You cannot remove the history. That's not how you grow as a person or as a nation. You learn from that history.
Yes. And we become better people.
And you become better people. That's the issue. So now they want to remove all portions that they don't like, and they want to force this critical race theory, which is exactly the opposite of what needs to happen down all of our children's throats. It's never going to get better until, like you said, keep history
People
as
like
it
this.
is, grow, teach them to that being that capitalism is the way out. This preacher, I'm going to look him up. I've never heard of him, and I think it's fantastic.
Follow him. I mean, just follow him.
I will.
So,
It's Project Hood. Just look up Project Hood.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome story. Good reporting. Liked it. If we spent a little too much time on it, people, sorry. There was a lot of questions and a lot of information that I had, so I wanted to ask.
And kind of going with that. Dale and I talked, for those listeners out there, Dale and I talked, and the last show, I felt we threw a little bit too much at everything, and we didn't get specifically detailed with some things.
It was more
and so I think that's why, we're not going to, this probably went a little long on this particular one, but, we all hear about Black Lives Matter and stuff. But so I'm interested to hear about your liberal businesses and then conservative ones.
So when I talk about liberal companies or businesses and potentials for alternatives, I'm not talking about the ones we know, the Twitters, the Googles, the Facebooks that, we all know where they're coming from. That's not, to me, that's a choice that I can use it or not use it and all that. But some of these, are ones that are probably difficult to not use, but yet we use them, and maybe there's an alternative, to that out there. And it runs the gamut. It's not just a retail business or something like that. But so, for instance, the first one, and I don't know if you have these in your area, and like I said, it could be regional, but the first one is Wawa gas stations. I don't know if that's something in your region or your area, but Wawa is a very large gas station chain. And they compete, with some of the larger gas station chains. One of them I'll mention here, but Wawa gas stations, this kind of falls right into what your story was, and it's not a problem. So they caved to the liberal left, and they allowed their employees to wear BLM, Black Lives Matter, attire, pins, hats, shirts, but not anything conservative. Not anything that would have to do with Trump or any of that. So they allowed that, but didn't allow anything conservative or what I would consider conservative attire or pins.
They actually said they do not allow that.
Correct.
Wow.
But they did allow them to wear the Black Lives Matter. You let them wear Black Lives Matter, but also let them wear the conservative. One way or the other here. All right. Yeah. So the alternative to them, if these both are in your region, is basically a large gas station company called Sheetz.
Yep.
Now we
have some of those here. Yeah.
Okay. We have some in Florida. Unfortunately, in the area I'm in, there isn't one. I would love to have one because I love going there. They're largest privately owned. They're considered the largest privately owned, like, convenience and coffee shop because of their coffee selections in there. So they're in the country. So, but they donate hundreds of thousands of dollars per year to Republican candidates. Okay, conservative candidates. The owners are conservative. They make no bones about it. They don't bow down to the left at all. So if you have a choice and you have both of these in your area and there's a Wawa and a Sheetz, drive down an extra mile and use Sheetz and skip Wawa. And
perfect.
If you can. I am not always a big proponent of boycotting because of somebody's political beliefs or anything. They can do what they want. Yeah, they can do what they want. And it's hard to do because there's so many liberal leaning companies and corporations out there, which is weird because it's all capitalism, but if you can, and you can make the decision and make it, that's what I want to know. I want to know where I can go, if I have a choice, to do that. Right. So another one is supermarkets. I don't know if you have Kroger's in your area, but I think everybody in the world has heard of Kroger's. Kroger's, they stopped selling the My Pillow products in their store. They used to, which is Mike Lindell. That's after he questioned the 2020 election and the results. And okay, he can be a little polarizing and maybe out there a little bit, but for God's sakes, I don't think he was wrong at all.
Right.
I don't think his claims are wrong. I don't think the fact that he's allowed to say this and question it. I mean, for how many we heard for the last 4 years how Hillary Clinton won the election, right, over Donald Trump, but he questions it. He puts his own money behind his cause, and of course Kroger decided, nope, that's not going to work for us. We're going to get rid of him. That's not the only reason on Kroger. In response to the BLM riots, Kroger plans to hire and make donations based on skin pigmentation only. So they plan on hiring strictly African Americans to fill roles, regardless of merit or regardless of experience or regardless. And that's fine. If you want to go, isn't that discrimination?
That's discrimination, I thought.
Is it only discrimination if it happens to one or not the other? No, it's discrimination no matter how you look at it.
Wow.
So that's Kroger's plan. Now, the conservative option is probably not in your area, and I've probably talked about it on this show, is Publix supermarkets.
No, seen them.
You can seen them. They're not everywhere. A lot of them are southern or southeastern based. Where I live, there's many of them. They are very much a conservative company, and again, are proud of that fact. They're the largest privately owned supermarkets in the country. You kind of go to a Kroger's, there's no guns allowed policy and all that. Not at Publix. They are absolutely fine with concealed carry as long as it abides by the law, and they're proponents of the Second Amendment.
And why do you think they are of that?
Why do I think what? Say it again.
Because an owner of these stores, why do you think they're pro concealed carry as long as it's in the state? It's because they know that if somebody comes into their store with a gun, starts shooting, they're going to think twice if somebody can pull a gun and shoot back at you.
Exactly. So it's exactly the case. I'm going into, so I got a Publix and a Kroger's right next to each other, right? So I'm like, I'm going to go rob one of these places. Well, let me go to the place that doesn't allow that. Clearly states on the outside of their door, no weapons allowed, no guns. Because I know nobody's going to shoot me back there, or let me go in this Publix where, I don't know, 30% of the people might be firing at me,
Yep.
I mean, whether you agree with gun policies or not, no weapon allowed policies fail. They failed on every level. They do everywhere. Look at Chicago. But anyway, so that's an alternative if you can do that. If you want to order pizza, to go, a delivery, stay away from Papa John's now. Okay. Do you have Papa John's in your area?
Oh yeah, actually, I actually
like
enjoy
Papa John's?
John's. Yeah.
Oh,
maybe not now.
So did we. Used to, when old Papa John was the owner and the CEO of it.
Right, when he got.
But So Papa John's pulled advertising from Tucker Carlson show for supporting merit-based immigration. Merit-based immigration.
How dare he?
How dare he support allowing people in based on their merits? I mean, that's ridiculous. And of course, that Papa John himself criticized the NFL when they were going through this whole BLM stuff when it began. And of course, they ousted him as the CEO. And he started the company, but
I know
they ousted him there. So if you want a conservative alternative to your take home, what I would say, cheaper pizza, right? I mean, it's not. Go to Domino's. Use Domino's. Believe it or not, Domino's is repeatedly rallied against the sugar and the fat taxes. So they want to keep putting these taxes on sugar and fat products, much like in New York when Bloomberg said, "Okay, no more 32-inch, Cokes,
big gulps,
big gulps." Okay, that's fine, but that's an individual's choice. That's not the government telling me I can't have this drink, because then pretty soon I can't have this one and I can't have this one. I can't, and they take. So they totally are against that. The taxes on it. Of course, they're against any more big government taxes. On top of this, Domino's executives and owners, and it's I might butcher their name, but the Monaghan family is the family that owns the Domino's. They donate exclusively to Republican candidates, and they state that. So, again, this could be hurting them because liberals could be like, "Damn, I love Domino's. No, I'm not going any there. I'm going to Papa John's." Well, that's your choice.
Could work the other way. Yeah,
could work the other way. Like, okay, and that's fine. If you're going to state your political view as a company, yes, you're going to alienate half a country, basically. And that's true. But if you have a choice between Papa John's and Domino's in your area, maybe support Domino's. They're a conservative company. The owners are conservative.
And they've gone through restructure. And
they have.
Their pizza's actually better. Because there was a time their pizza wasn't so good.
Not good.
They took a hit for it, too. They
did. Not good.
But it was it's much better now. They're
is.
much. So maybe we'll try it.
Correct.
Got to reward people that stand up against tyranny.
Yeah, try it. And at least support them. I think over a Papa John's. Now I don't know about Pizza Hut or any of those other Little Caesars.
Right.
Little Caesars, I've heard, is a little bit on the liberal side. Just want to tell you, but I don't have all the details. Another one, I only got a couple more companies, and this is quick.
It's all right.
But obviously, and here's one, is Walmart. Okay. Yeah. This is a difficult one because I think everybody goes to Walmart. I don't think I know anybody who doesn't go to a Walmart. I try to avoid Walmarts when I can just because I'm not a big fan of that store. Had nothing to do with conservative or liberal. It just had the fact that it annoys me. It's large. I can't just run in and grab something and run out. I got to go past 50 other things. Next thing you know, it's $300. I'm out of Walmart, for milk, that I went for. But anyways, Walmart CEO Doug McMillon is a never Trumper. He's repeated to the media the Charlottesville lie with Trump about how he said, there's good people here, and that's not true. The Walton Family Foundation also supports the Clinton Foundation and donates a lot of money to the Clinton Foundation. Of course,
that is no longer.
We don't know the total. What's that?
Clinton Foundation's no longer around.
Well, I know that, but they did.
Surprise. Yeah,
they did. Surprise. And of course, they, publicly came out to speak against Senator Josh Hawley, who you may or may not know, calling him a sore loser for once again questioning the integrity of the 2020 election. All right. So they donate to Democratic causes. They are never Trumpers, and they obviously are don't believe there was any shenanigans whatsoever in the 2020 election, which is fine. So to find an alternative to a Walmart is super difficult because
sorry.
Okay, man?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, no, you're under the weather. I know that today. So, and I appreciate you doing the show today, even though you are under the weather.
Yeah,
so
this is what men do.
It's what men do, man. It's what men do. Sit behind the computer and give their opinions.
That's right.
That's what men do. So, but anyway, so the alternative is not many. Okay.
I was going to say
a Walmart. But say you want to go to a Walmart and you want to buy, a hoodie, a pair of shoes, a fishing pole, or now if you want to go buy a weapon, you can't do that at Walmart anymore. Go to Bass Pro. Bass Pro.
Okay.
Very, 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 very conservative. They partnership with a lot of conservative organizations, mainly the NRA. Big proponent of the Second Amendment. Of course, you can buy weapons there and all that. So if you got to go to Walmart for something like that, maybe, if you have them in your area, drive to Bass Pro. Fantastic store too, by the way. I don't know if you've been in one or have.
Yeah, I've been.
Okay. I don't know why you would. You're not a
outdoorsy guy. They're just fun to go into. I'm not an outdoorsy guy. Yeah, they're fun to go into. But
I always thought you could be an outdoorsy guy, like go camping with the family, start a fire on your own, a manly man.
Grew up that way.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
My My father and his family, my brother, they all went hunting, and while I was nice, tucked away in my bed, warm.
I met your brother, and he's much more manly than you.
Oh,
I just want to
of
say.
course.
So,
yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
And so the last one is if you need to get some hardware products, maybe stay away from 84 lumber. Do you have 84 lumbers in your area?
Yep.
I think those are mainly northern, more so than they are in the south. 84 lumber, they promoted illegal immigration and they support DACA, which is the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. Right. That's what DACA means. Basically, it's like if a child came over, they're automatically a citizen of the country. So that's child came over illegally,
which is
they're
why
automatically a citizen.
Which is why people were tossing their children over the fence.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So they're big supporters of that. Yeah. Probably the obvious choice to go, if you want a conservative alternative, is Home Depot. Yep. We all know the owner has given to Republicans, specifically candidates. They let me see. Yeah, that's it. I mean, they're very high on the capitalism and Republican candidates, and they donate specifically to candidates. So that's really briefly. I want to try to do more of this and maybe get a little bit more.
We definitely need to get it out there.
Yeah. Just some companies that if you have a choice, maybe, and some of these you don't even know. Like I know Papa John's was a liberal company. I didn't know some of this.
Well, so see, they weren't.
Well, I know they weren't until they got rid of.
Yeah.
Which kind of maybe gave you the big clue there. That, they're caving to the left, but. Things like Kroger's and the gas stations and all. I mean, I don't know this. I don't know who these people are. And if I have my choice, I'm going to definitely support a conservative company.
Yeah.
Again, I don't like Walmart, but it serves a purpose. And I get why people go there. And it's probably a difficult one to not go to.
And that's why, you got people out there that I'm not going to Starbucks anymore. Okay, fine. That's fine. I have absolutely no problem with that. You're right. It's completely you're right. And that, but some of the same people, they go to Amazon. And
exactly.
So it's like, so you got to
go to Target, and now, Target's liberal.
I have cut back my, I do not go to Starbucks nearly as much
do not
as maybe
almost
I did.
At all anymore.
I know, right. and your
my significant other was a Starbucks addict. I'd say
they took a hit.
they took a hit. I mean,
they took a hit. Yeah,
us. So when you say one person can't change the world, my significant other, my wife, probably changed. A lot of salaries at the top.
Yes.
By her not going to Starbucks anymore.
Yeah.
So
and it's like, so you got to pick your poison, if you will.
You do.
We all know that Amazon is just right now, they're the only game in town. There are some companies, startups that are trying to come around.
Agreed.
It's going to take a long time to catch up to what Amazon has done.
Amazon's an amazing company. I am not Jeff Bezos is a weirdo. He's a liberal.
Yep.
But that guy, and not only are they an amazing company, but I'll give him this. How many people does he employ? He gives jobs and careers and allows those people to feed their families.
Kind of makes you wonder why he's a liberal.
That's what I'm saying. I don't get it. I don't think deep down these guys are. I got to be honest with you.
I
think deep down, they come out and say it, and then they, Well,
do you want Black Lives Matter showing up at your front door?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they cave. They don't have, Now I think Amazon at this point could fend off Black Lives Matter if they really wanted to.
Yeah, and look, if you're going to take stands, fine, but take stands both ways. Defend the religious freedom of some people.
Yeah.
Why was no one speaking out when Obama was going after the religious not-for-profits? They were going after him with the IRS.
Yep. Correct.
Or any group
be a champion for both.
Yeah, and so that's my problem.
Agreed. And just real briefly, some other I have a couple just liberal companies, no details, or conservative companies for alternatives. Flowers Foods, which I'm sure most people have not heard of, but they are the makers of Wonder Bread, Nature's Own bread. Okay. Bunny bread. I don't know if you have that up there, but we do in the South. But anyways, they're a conservative company. So, switch from, I don't know, whatever bread you use to buy some Wonder Bread, help them out. Hobby Lobby, of course. I think we all kind of knew that one. Goya Foods, which I think we kind of know. Do you remember Goya Foods?
Yeah.
Do you know?
I didn't realize they were. Wow.
Yeah. So there was a big deal about Goya Foods, and I'll have to research. Remember back in the Trump days when something was going on, they were supporting Trump, or they donated, I think, to him and all that. Wow. And the liberals wanted to boycott all their products.
Of course.
And Goya food sales skyrocketed because conservatives went out and said, I may have never used it, but I'm buying it just to help them out. So
Chick-fil-A.
And of course, My Pillow. We know that. But go on.
Chick-fil-A loves it when they're protested against.
Yeah.
Because their revenues go up during that time because
I know
we conservatives show up to defend everybody's right to
Chick-fil-A. Yeah, go on. I'm sorry.
When have we ever said that an organization like Starbucks, like Amazon, can't support Black Lives Matter and stuff like that? We've never said that.
Never said that.
But you got to support the others too. That's what
expect some, some payback, from your decision. You come out and you say, somebody like Ben Affleck comes out and says, we know he's a liberal. We know he's a whack job liberal, by the way.
Yes.
But he comes out and he starts talking, and guess what? I'm not going to go see your movies. I'm not going to support that. That's the decision and the choice you made by coming out and telling me your opinion, which you are more than welcome to have. That is what's brilliant about our country. It's what makes our country great. You can have that opinion, but don't get pissed at me because I decide, well, I'm not going to go see your movie now because I don't like your damn opinion. I'm not going to support you. And that's my right. That's my right. So anyways, state what you want. I don't expect everybody who listens to this podcast with you and me, I'm sure they don't agree with everything we're saying. And I wouldn't expect
research
anyone to agree with everything we're saying. Just do
research
it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Just like BLM, I obviously didn't say some other things in there because we only have a certain amount of time.
Correct.
So, but research it. It's out there. It's
out there.
It's not the group you think they are.
Yep,
and
exactly.
they're being, the people that really believe they're doing good, that are out there on the ground, that are out there doing this. And the people in the inner cities they're like, yeah, Black Lives Matter. But then what do they do for you? So
Exactly. Yeah. So one other thing I want to get into real quick before and I think we'll go into our, I don't know, maybe we do sports or our top five.
Yeah. We could, sports.
Yeah. So anyways, real quick, the 2021 media viewership Q3 numbers came out.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it's average, viewership per show in millions. Okay, so the average membership per show or viewership, I'm sorry, in millions. Who do you think is the number one most viewed show in Q3? And it's not even close.
Okay, now would it be Tucker Carlson's?
No, Tucker Carlson is second with 3.24 million.
Okay.
Average membership.
Rachel Maddow?
Nope. Rachel Maddow is third from the bottom on this list.
Oh, okay.
So the number one most viewed, the Joe Rogan Experience, his podcast.
Oh, no kidding.
11.0.
Wow.
11 million. 11 million are getting their news and their stories from Joe Rogan. Now, I don't know if you've listened to Joe Rogan's podcasts at all.
Mm-mm.
Amazing. That guy is a genius. when it comes to
I
not
like
only
Joe
interviewing,
Rogan.
but he admits when he doesn't know something, and he researches, and he's smart as hell. And you may like or may not like his opinion, but guess what? People are liking it. 11 million in quarter three compared to the number 2, which was Tucker Carlson at 3.24 million. That is a substantial gap.
Huge.
And so people are getting their news and Joe Rogan's a big proponent of monoclonal antibodies for the COVID vaccine, ivermectin. He big proponent of that. And he's had a lot of scientists and guests and doctors on there that just dispute all these COVID numbers and the lack of treatments, the pushing of the vaccine, the lack of the treatment. Is what they are doing. So anyways, if that's real quick, I don't want to go over it, but after Tucker Carlson, I'll give you, it was the 5, which is on Fox. Yeah. And then Fox News Primetime was on there. And then, sorry, these are hard to read for me because they're the Ingram angle. So Laura Ingram was next. Then Rachel Maddow, MSNBC, and CNN Primetime, which was at 0.82 million.
Wow.
Compared to Joe Rogan's 11 million. So way to go, CNN. Keep it up.
Yeah.
I love their numbers down there. But anyway, so I just thought that was an interesting fact that actually, Joe Rogan, a podcast, is getting that much viewership and attention, and rightfully so. He deserves it. It's an amazing podcast. But all right, Jim, what else do we want to get in? You want to go into sports real quick, and then
we can kind of review the football playoffs, the college.
We can,
and both of us predicted the outcome.
We did. We did. Yeah. We predicted Georgia, Alabama again. So,
this one's.
Well, go on. It's hard to figure, right? Yeah. Part of me says Alabama, obviously, because of the way they manhandle them the first in the SEC championship. The other part of me is saying, God, I hope it's Georgia, because I don't want Alabama.
Well, you know me, I'm a, if it's, I like Alabama. I like Nick Saban.
I know they're new home. We reviewed this, I think, on our first episode or something.
My new homer,
it's your new homer.
Kirby Smart has done, he's built that program, and we'll see. I mean, we'll honestly see what happens.
I don't know if they can pull it off, but
if Mechie was playing, I think it would be maybe a little. But the difference is the defensive backfield for Georgia is on that defense is really the weakest part of that defense.
It is.
Michigan wasn't going to exploit it.
No.
Michigan thought they could run against their defense. Well, nobody runs against their defense.
That's what they thought.
The only reason Alabama ran against that defense was because Bryce Young was opening it up and passing down the field.
Correct.
So it will be different. Cincinnati's defensive backfields are very good. I think they performed very well that day.
I did too. I don't think they have anything to be ashamed of. Only allowing, was it 27 points?
Yep.
Is that what it was? Yep. I think to Alabama. So, I don't think they have anything to be ashamed of there.
It might have been 30. Was it 34-6?
Are you lying to me? What's the score? I got it right.
I think it was. Thought it was. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. How come we don't know this? Why didn't you know this? We should have known this right off the bat. 27-6. I mean,
it's 27-6. Yeah. So it was very good, but there's some potential NFL players in that Cincinnati defensive backfield that
there sure is.
That are gonna two of them and possibly a third later, later down. But no, I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be closer than the first game was. And I'm going to go different. I'm going to go ahead and predict. I think Georgia's. It's hard to beat a team twice. So I'm going to say Georgia's going to beat them. It's going to be close.
All right. My prediction is Alabama wins. It's not what I'm hoping for, so I hope I'm wrong. That's I can't.
Well, I hope Alabama wins.
Alabama anymore. It's crazy. Well, I just can't. When I think they're down and out, when I think they're going to have a bad year, when I think something's happening, bam, they come right back and they just destroy everybody in the way.
Yep.
So I can't go against Nick Saban. I'd love to. I just can't stand
And
them.
if you look at the top 10 recruiting classes, and usually the same 10.
So it's usually, you're right. It's usually the same 10, which then leads me to why not expand these playoffs? I think
we need
briefly
to.
you and I discussed this, but why not expand them? So there's no reason that only 4 teams. To me, so here, just imagine this scenario. Okay, you've got number 1 Alabama. So this is according to the rankings at the end of the year, 1 through 8, and I'm talking about just an 18 playoff. Okay,
right.
You got number 1 Alabama would have been playing Ole Miss. Yep. So, that would have been the first game. Number 1 against number 8. Number 2 against number 7. 3 against 6. 4 and 5. Right. That's how that goes. Now Ole Miss lost to Baylor in the Sugar Bowl.
Corral went out.
But Corral went down. Now, if he doesn't, that's, I think, a different game.
Yeah, I agree.
And honestly, I think Alabama would have manhandled Ole Miss still anyways.
Like they did the first time they played.
Like they did the first time. So then you got number 2 Michigan would have been against number 7 Baylor. Now, how would you have liked to seen that game?
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
That would have been a good game. Baylor obviously beat Ole Miss. Michigan lost to Georgia. That would have been an interesting game to see Baylor against Michigan.
I think the speed of Baylor's offense would have, would have made that defense look bad.
I think so too, because Georgia's offense sure made. Who's the number 1? Who's going to be the number 1 pick? Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Did he decide to sit out that game? No, he played. You would never
I'll tell you
know
what, though, he had a play early in the game. He was reading what they were doing.
Yeah.
And it was the guy's amazing. I mean, he can recognize he stepped out into coverage when that wasn't what he was supposed to do.
Yeah,
and
correct.
He stopped the potential big play. And he didn't have a huge
game.
He
got manhandled.
They ran away from him.
Offensive line.
They ran away from him and stuff. But
as teams will do when you have a star like that. So
well, let's look at it this way. Do you think that game against Michigan, Ohio State, you think the outcome might have been a little different if it wasn't snowing and it was a little warmer?
Yes. I think it was a little warmer.
Cold slows a team down.
Sure does.
Ohio State is the only you and I have talked about this many times. Ohio State is the only team in the Big Ten that can go into the SEC and can compete.
Agree.
Because of the speed.
I agree. Because of the speed
that you have. Yeah. Other than that, you don't. And this is what happened.
You don't. Yep. Michigan, I know. I often wondered if that game was held in Columbus for one. Because Michigan chickened out the year before because of COVID.
Yep.
Or if the game would have just been, they've had many games up there where it's been a little warmer, no snow on the ground. Right. And our passing attack would have been, come on. It's the number one offense in the country, Ohio State.
Right.
So, I'm sorry. I just don't want to give Michigan that much credit for being.
I don't either. I don't either.
I just. But okay, so then you got number 3 Georgia, who we know beat Michigan. Would have played number 6 Ohio State in this scenario.
Oh my!
It's the game I wanted. It's the championship I wanted.
That would have been awesome
a hell of a game.
Yes,
that would have been a hell of a game. And so you could have had that in the Orange Bowl or the Rose Bowl. These bowl games would have made a difference.
Yep.
You got the Cotton Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Rose Bowl, there's a Cotton Bowl again, Fiesta Bowl. These bowls will make a difference, and they'll mean something a little bit more. But anyways, in that scenario, Georgia, Ohio State. And then Cincinnati, again, would have been against Notre Dame in these rankings.
Maybe a different
outcome. Notre Dame lost to Oklahoma State, which did not make the top 8. They were number 9, Oklahoma State. Right. And Ohio State beat Utah, which was 11, but
and Notre Dame had a 28-7 lead. So.
They did. So sorry, listener, Chris, isn't it? Chris is the Notre Dame. Yeah. That was a choke. They choked.
Well, my wife was reading on Facebook, and she said there was a bunch of people out there that said Notre Dame got screwed. Notre Dame should have been in the Final Four, and
really,
I looked at it from this standpoint. I said they had a chance. They lost to Cincinnati at home.
Ohio State had
Notre Dame.
They lost. They didn't deserve it.
Yeah, and but Notre Dame lost to Cincinnati at home. That was their chance to win. And
Yep.
And can you go ahead, guys? Every time Notre Dame's been in the Final Four, that first game, not even close.
Not even close.
And when they did go to the championship game against Alabama, it was over within 5 minutes? It was
almost as bad as last year's Ohio State Alabama game. But,
Notre
it's
Dame.
almost as bad as that,
I still think, and they never will, Notre Dame needs to get in a conference. We've said it since day one. Go in the ACC, dominate the ACC, other than Clemson when Clemson's good. Do what you got to do. But anyway,
do what you got to do. And I think we can absolutely expand these playoffs. We can have those bowl games earlier and have the climax again, the championship game, like they're having this Monday. The 10th. You can fit all that in. It's not like you have to.
Okay, so
they're worried about the kids' school schedules and all that. Really?
No, they don't.
The name, they don't care about that. That's not what anybody cares about there. So don't give me that story again.
It's for the kid. No, it's not. You guys don't give a shit.
The NCAA doesn't give a crap about them. Doesn't give a crap about them. So expand the playoffs, and also what it might do is, rightfully or wrongfully, and I do not discourage any player from sitting out of a game because he knows he's going to the next level in the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's
because we saw what happened to Curry, right? We saw he got injured. I don't know.
Luckily, no, it's negative. Everything came back.
It's negative. So I think he'll be fine, and it'll be great. He'll show up to the combine, and everything will be good. But it could have went the other way. Could have been a career-ending injury.
Jalen Smith.
Risk you take every game, anyways.
Jalen Smith.
Jalen Smith. That's right. So I get the whole, wanting to sit out, and because you're going to go to the NFL. I also get the whole bullshit. It's a team sport. You're part of the team.
Yeah.
You got a scholarship to play at this school.
Yeah.
You're taking up a scholarship spot. Get on that field. I get that part too. But expanding the playoffs might help with some of that. It would help. It would help the players make a decision. Well, geez, I got a chance at a national championship. I'm going to play in this game. So it could change the whole outlook of how that is determined. They got to expand the payoffs. That's my bottom line. That's
so
all.
If you look at that scenario, because I like the 18. I like the 18.
I do too.
So if you look at that scenario, you could have an Alabama against Cincinnati again.
You could,
and then you could potentially have, those other games. Those games wouldn't be as entertaining as the other bracket, man.
It's true. It wouldn't be.
Man, the two.
It wouldn't be. So you definitely could. But you could have a freaking Baylor, end up being in the championship, and rightfully so. They could have deserved it, and they could have made that. But it's. I just think you got to expand the playoffs. You just have to do it. So that's just all. There's a
lot of problems, and there's more money out there, which is really all they care about is money. So,
do you need to talk about the NFL at all, Jim?
No, I felt I talked a little bit too much.
Congratulations to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Who day?
Who day? Congratulations on winning the division, making every last Browns game totally useless. Thank God, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I can't take that team anymore. So I can't take.
I'll be honest with you.
I can't take it.
Right now, there's a situation that Cincinnati. It's like Saturday, Denver and Kansas City play. Okay, so if Kansas City wins that game, then Cincinnati, there's no chance that they can take over the number one seed overall.
It doesn't change their position, correct?
So
at all.
That one.
Yep.
But I haven't. If they decide not to play Burrow, which I might be for that at this time,
you
depending what happens.
Should hope for that.
But my problem is this: right now they would play the Colts, which isn't at home.
Yeah.
Which Colts are a pretty good team.
But they lost. They lost this battle.
I know. They lost to the Raiders. But if they lose and New England or Buffalo win, then they would have to play either New England or Buffalo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Oh,
it's the what do you want?
In New England or
Nope.
Buffalo?
No, it's Cincinnati gets a first home
Oh, they
game.
get a home. Yeah, they won that division. Yeah, they get a
Yeah,
home
they
game
won the
anyway,
division.
even though the
So
record could be worse than the person
yes,
their team they're
correct.
playing. Yeah,
Right.
stupid. But anyways, go on.
Yeah. So that, you got to ask yourselves, what do you want to do? And now Joe Burrow's competitive as hell. He's going to want to play. It is the Browns. Browns embarrassed them, but that defense of Cleveland, I don't want them having free shots at Burrow. I can't.
Yeah.
I'd
I don't
almost
need
rather.
and
I
to be
would
honest
rather
with you,
play a Mac Jones led offense because I don't think Buffalo's losing. I would rather see. I think I'd rather see Cincinnati play a Belichick team in the home playoff game and go up against Mac Jones, a rookie. I would probably rather do that. Josh Allen is just that guy. That guy's amazing.
He can. He's a game changer. But and the Browns are going to sit a lot of people. I mean, right now I think Baker Mayfield's not even going to play, which might be the best thing for the Browns.
He should. I don't think he should have played. I don't think he should have played last night.
Oh, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Look, the guy's a gamer. I mean, he's worried. I think, and you're a Cleveland Brown fan. You answer this better than anybody. I think he's just worried about what other people say about him.
I think so.
He just needs to, get over that.
He's in that case. He's got
Colin Cowherd.
Yeah.
Colin Cowherd does not like him. Okay, Colin Cowherd is going to continue to say things to Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield's proving Colin Cowherd right. Okay,
absolutely.
And so stop when Colin Cowherd makes a comment.
Yeah,
don't reply back.
Yeah,
don't reply back. Just let it go.
Well, he has no room to. The guy had 10 consecutive incompletions last night. The first quarterback this year to do that.
And there were some open receivers.
And there was some you think about the quarterbacks that have played this year with COVID, and so you've got your second string down, your third string going, your guy you just brought from the practice squad. Even they didn't do 10 consecutive incompletions. But our guy, our star, Baker Mayfield,
and he's going to get paid.
Terrible.
He's not going to get the high dollar, but he's going to. He's
terrible. Our tight end's terrible. I'm done talking about. See, I'm going on a tangent now.
Okay.
Like you did with the Bengals, and I don't want to do that. Browns suck.
Well,
move on.
So, but I will say one that I liked, that there was an article that I read, and it did say that that it's high probability that the Bengals offense has become the most exciting offense, even over Kansas City. So that was kind of a neat thing to see.
I agree. And I'm telling you right now, I am pulling for the Bengals. Why? Only because of you. That's all. So I want you to get your Super Bowl win. And they're fun to watch. I'm telling you, I enjoy watching them. I might be a Bengals fan now. I'm going. Give me that hat. I'm going to start wearing it.
Nobody wants to watch. If the Bengals win the Super Bowl, no one's going to want to see me for at least 4 months. I'm going to be annoyed. I'm going to be.
Yeah, you'll probably be self-pleasuring yourself for 4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably what will be happening to you.
With the replica of the Super Bowl trophy right there,
with Joe Burrow's picture on the football.
And look, the Bengals are a year ahead of schedule. A lot of people said Burrow's third and fourth year. Third and fourth years when it would turn around. But guys,
can you imagine if he didn't raunch his knee a year ago?
Look, and I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody does. The Bengals could lose the first game of the playoffs like they've done. They haven't won a playoff game in 30 years. But and then they could get on a roll like they are and take them in. But
correct.
The one thing that as a fan, Burrow's 25.
Yep.
Mixon's 24.
Yep.
Chase is 20. T. Higgins is 22.
20?
He's 20. T. Higgins is. I think he might be 21 because he had that.
Yet?
Well, I think he's 21 or 22. T. Higgins is under 25.
Yep.
Tyler Boyd is 27.
Old guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you look at this team, and folks, just to let everybody in the AFC North and the rest of the NFL know, Boyd is locked up for another 3 years. They've got Chase for another 4 years after this. Higgins another 3 years after this, and Burrow, he'll get his guys. This offense isn't going anywhere for some.
It's not going anywhere.
And if we concentrate on the offensive line and defensive backfield, I get giddy. I get giddy. I get giddy. But and then on the other front, the other side, as usual, Green Bay looks dominant.
Dominant. Green Bay looks dominant,
and so we'll see.
I mean, is that guy? He's unstoppable.
Have you seen some of those throws?
I know, it's crazy. Can you believe that Green Bay? I mean, the luck of that simple pitching team. They go right from Brett Favre right to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, they've had like 20 years plus of just not having to worry about a quarterback. I mean, it's unbelievable. And Cleveland can't go a week.
And so you got to ask yourselves, can the only team right now that I think that can do it? It just depends what Rams team shows up.
True,
because Tampa Bay's down 2 receivers now.
We'll just get to the streamer of the week soon.
Yeah. Okay. So that NFL, I think the Cowboys have there's something going on. Dak, you can say whatever you want about. There's nothing wrong. There's something wrong with that offense. And okay. So you beat up a Washington team that had a bunch of people out, and good job. I look at that NFC, and tell me somebody that could go into Green Bay and beat them.
Exactly. Tampa can't. No way. That's not happening.
Not now. Not without. If they had their weapons, okay, possibly.
Yeah, possibly, but
because they did last year. But I think
they're
this
not
is
this
their
year.
year.
I think it's Green Bay. I think it's Green Bay, and I seriously could see Cincinnati making it. I mean, come on.
I will never
they
be able to make that prediction.
The number one seed in the AFC. At home.
But going to Kansas City or going to Tennessee, if they have to eventually do that, that's a little different than winning at home. So, now look,
I'm not worried as much about Tennessee's offense moving. I'm just not a Tannehill guy, so I don't.
Henry's coming back, though.
I know he's coming back, and I never want to go against him like Vrabel team. And the guy's a great coach. He's a great coach, but I see Cincinnati beating Tennessee. I see Cincinnati beating Indianapolis. I see Cincinnati beating Buffalo or New England. They clearly can, and we know they beat Kansas City. So I don't think, like you said, I don't think anybody can get in their way except for them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the defense.
That's it.
The defenses look really bad. Second half. But because what I like about it is, the week before, T. Higgins almost had 200 yards receiving.
Yeah, exactly.
This past week, Jamar Chase had 266. Who are you going to stop?
Who are you going to stop? Who are you going to double cover? Who are you going to double cover?
That's what's exciting about. If
he has 3 seconds in the pocket, that's all he needs.
He's been getting the ball out. That next gen stats, they had that he was on passes that he released the ball within 2.1 seconds. Yeah. He was 72% passing completion.
Crazy.
That's not always going to happen. But you got to look at what I liked about what happened is this Kansas City defense has been the reason they're where they're at the last 5 or 6 games. Remember, the offense wasn't really clicking and it wasn't really going, and that defense was playing very well. And that defensive backfield, they had no answers for any of them.
Yep. Are you burping a lot or something on camera here?
Yeah, I've got.
You got heartburn?
Yeah.
Heart attack or heartburn or
heartburn. We're okay.
Okay.
Right. So anyway, but that's the NFL and that's college football and baseball. Baseball's still locked out.
Still locked out. I don't have much more on the sports than that. Yeah. I mean, we talked about NFL and and college and all that, and it's we all got our We all got our opinions on it, but congratulations to you again, Cincinnati Bengals. And
Yep.
it's hard to say that for me.
I know.
But I am now a Bengals fan, fully 100% Bengals fan. I'm done with the Browns. Done.
Yeah. Well,
until
the season's. They just let's wait because
let's wait.
We'll see what happens. So
I think we need to get to our top 5.
Of course. Yep.
And so top 5 this week, female solo artists. Again, super difficult for me. Not because
pretty easy for me.
Was it?
It was. It was really.
I just couldn't. I literally couldn't find. Not that I couldn't find. I was going through my head on like, who do I listen to? That's just strictly a female solo artist. I mean, I've got my 5, and that's
mm-hmm.
It'll probably surprise you quite a bit who is in the top 5. I don't know if you could guess, one. Maybe you could guess one. Maybe you'll guess 2. I don't know.
I think one of my top 5 will be one of your top 5.
Do you?
At least one. Yeah.
I feel maybe not, but it might be true.
Yeah.
So who wants to go first on this one? I remember.
I think you went first last time, so you want me to go first this time?
Okay. That's fair. That's super fair.
I think we just alternate back and forth, right?
Alternate. Yep,
unless you want to go first, go ahead.
I don't feel like going first. I want to hear yours.
Okay. So I went back for my first 2, number 5 and number 4, but I'll get to number 5 first. I went back to my childhood growing up days. And now number 5 wasn't huge as far as selling records and doing all that stuff.
Already.
But she had red hair and I was just flat out in love with her. But it was Tiffany. I think we're alone now. There was nothing. Oh, by the way, the Playboy she was in when she turned 40 wasn't too bad either. But, I'm going to be honest. It was,
Jim. I mean,
yeah. Anyway, but I just, she had 2. She had a ballad that she had in there, slow song. But I had her albums, and she was awesome. I loved her. She wasn't great. She wasn't great. She really wasn't. I mean, it was. I think We're Alone Now was pretty cool. It was nice jump, mall thing that she did.
That's the only one I can think of.
But yeah, she was my number 5. I've got to put her in my number 5 just from the simple fact that I had a crush on her. It's kind of funny.
And you were in love with her. Hey, listen, not bad. I mean, not a bad reason. Terrible choice, by the way.
Yeah, I get it. We have to start doing this. Like, you got to start making fun of me on these. So I don't. My number 4, was Taylor Swift before Taylor Swift is Taylor Swift.
No,
this was Debbie Gibson.
Oh, okay.
Debbie Gibson wrote.
I like Debbie Gibson.
She wrote her own songs at that age, at a young age.
I thought you were saying your number 4 was Taylor Swift.
No, she's not even in my top 5. No way. But she was Taylor Swift before Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
she wrote her own music, did her own thing. Yeah. She never wrote about breakups, because if you ever break up with Taylor Swift, they're writing a song about you. But Debbie Gibson was a huge seller in the 80s. She was big, kind of disappeared a little bit as she got older, but now she's out. You can see her. She's on Christmas Hallmark movies. I've seen her on a couple of them when I'm watching with my wife.
She's touring with New Edition at state fairs. So
yeah, probably. That would be kind of cool. But yeah, Debbie Gibson. Yeah. I have to put those because that was my childhood. That's what you listened to then. They were because exactly. Madonna was okay, but not. It was these two were more angelic until Tiffany was in Playboy. But hey, can't judge.
So, you can't judge. But who's the judge?
Yeah, so money's Tiffany and Debbie Gibson, the '80s girls, were they're my 4 and 5. 5 and 4,
so far, nope, not a 1.
Yep. And my number 2, I think my number 2 is going to be in your list. I guarantee.
Oh, okay.
So, so number 3, okay, she went a little nuts. She kind of fell out of the limelight a little bit, but when she was in Britney Spears, there was no one better. That she could just, she had the excitement.
She almost made my top 5.
Yeah,
Believe it or
I
not.
just listening her music, take apart the other stuff where she went crazy and all of that others, but
Well, I mean, yeah. Go
there
ahead.
was a moment in time before Justin Timberlake destroyed her, but there was a time that she was just that. I mean, she was just energetic, just out there, just
Well, then,
it's fun to watch. So yeah,
and
Britney
then I
Spears is
feel
number
I
3.
know who your number 2 is now that you said Britney Spears is number 3.
No, I doubt
feel.
it. No,
Oh, okay.
my
All right.
number. Okay, so Britney Spears was my number
Britney
3,
Spears.
and
I can see that. A lot
so
of hits,
number
a lot of I can see.
2 probably is going to surprise you a little bit because I don't talk about her a whole lot, but you sit there and you listen to a song. Oh my God, I didn't know she sang that. I didn't know she sang that. And so then you start listening to her and you start listening to her, and she's great. And that's Kelly Clarkson.
Absolutely could be in my top 5. It wasn't.
I thought for sure she was going to be in your top 5.
I know it wasn't. And there's somebody who that could have been in that, and it would have been my number 4. But there's somebody in there that, anyways, I'll get into it. I'm going to be interested. But
I'm really going to be interested.
Kelly Clarkson, I think, has got an amazing, amazing voice. I think she's a brilliant artist. Actually.
To me, the best voice. If I had to go with best voice in my top 5, she easily would have been number 1.
So far,
there is any song that she sings, she can sing. I mean, there's specific songs out there that you're like, okay, only that person can sing. Okay, like when Whitney Houston was around, only Whitney Houston's going to be able to sing that song.
Right.
Kelly Clarkson can sing those songs. She can sing kind of singer.
She's that talented. I agree.
And and so she was my number 2 because I just love listening to her. The older stuff and the newer stuff, the maturity that
I have no argument with that at all. Yeah. None. Didn't make my top 5, believe it or not. But
see, that's the one. That's the one I thought we would match because this one I guarantee is not in your top 5. But
this is your number 1.
Yeah, this is my number 1. I mean, I've got a Spotify playlist with her. I've got my Pandora station is her station, and but I listening to her, looking at her, everything is just don't like her politics, but it's Katy Perry.
Oh God,
yeah. Love listening to her thing, and the fact that she has this ongoing battle with Taylor Swift. I think it's funny, and I love it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I take her over Taylor Swift for sure.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying she hasn't had enough hit.
No, granted, I didn't just go with voice. I went with what I thought was a good voice that can sing, but also just the energy, just love to listen to the songs. And I mean, come on, she sings about menage a trois and stuff.
Wow.
How do you not like that stuff? But I love listening to her music. And if my family right now, when we sit there and say we're doing top, my daughter, my son, my wife, that would know who my number 1 was.
They would know. They would know.
Yep.
Katy Perry.
Katy Perry. Yep.
I kissed
now,
like this.
Yeah. So one of the singers,
I'll give you that. So for sure.
But two or three that close to making my list. One, what I had to go back to my country roots. Don't know if you're familiar with her. I doubt you are, but Sarah Evans was.
Oh no, I know Sarah Evans.
Just a great voice. Just absolutely. She almost was number 5, but because of my love affair with Tiffany at the time, I had to put her in.
I can't even believe.
So actually, to be honest with you, Sarah Evans probably should have been 5, but I like the controversy. So, but the Christina Aguilera is another one.
So that's who I thought was going to be your number.
Absolutely 2. Can sing. That girl can sing. I mean,
based on the rivalry with Britney Spears back in the day too.
And then another one.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, Lady Gaga would have been the other one. So
Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, she could sing, but she just.
Yeah. Oh no, nothing to look at. Oh, nothing to look at.
Oh, and it doesn't even have anything to do with that. I mean, I think Lady Gaga's great. I mean, I do. I think her voice. I even think
she's
her acting
good actress. Good actress. Good actress.
So I have no problem with that. I'm not a massive fan of her, but I don't dislike her. I don't even dislike her honestly. Even her politics are whacked, but I don't dislike her as a person either.
I will say
I've heard
this:
some really good interviews with her.
So my top 5 in review is Tiffany, Debbie Gibson, my
Yep.
80s girls. And then
Yes.
number 3 was Britney Spears.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 was Kelly Clarkson. And my number 1 is Katy Perry. Now,
terrible choice at number 1.
if there is one singer that is in your top 5, this podcast is over. Now, I won't say it. I'll wait and see what your top 5 is, because I'm afraid she's going to be in it. So Dale, what is your top 5?
The only one I think you might think would be my number 2. Is the one you might be thinking about, but I'm not sure. Over.
It was nice working with you.
Also, our listener Chris, my favorite dude in the world, next to you, Jim, sent in his top 5 female. Do you want to do that first, or you want me to do mine?
No, go ahead and read Chris's. No.
Okay, so Chris, thank you again for the contribution. We appreciate it, and for listening and liking and subscribing to the YouTube channel. It's awesome. Here is Chris's top 5 female solo artists. Number 5, Natalie Merchant. Well, it's an odd choice. It's an odd choice. Number 4, Janet Jackson. Okay. I mean, I can see that for sure. Number 3 is somebody I've never heard of, and maybe you've never heard of. Francesca Battistelli.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
She's a Christian artist.
So is she? I'll have to listen. I've never heard her.
She's a very nice voice, very good
voice. Okay, that's good. Number 2 was Aretha Franklin, which it's just not my style of music. That's why.
Not mine at all.
I was never like I was never into that. But
definitely a classic.
And number 1, and rightfully so, is Madonna. So. There's so many hits and spans so many decades with her that I can understand how that could be, again, whack job. And I don't think any of these, many of these people are whack jobs. That's not why we're picking up.
I liked a lot of her music. I liked a lot of her music
too. It meant it was 80s and 90s, and that was a good era,
And she made out with my number 3 on live television. So
she did. That's right. I do remember that. So, but thank
Madonna's,
you, Chris, for putting that in.
Madonna's not a bad choice.
No, it's
Aretha
not.
Franklin, that's solid.
Kind of weird.
That's
solid. It's great.
She's a legend. She's an icon. Not my thing.
Yeah. So, he did admit though that this list was it was tougher for him than some of the other ones, and I agree. I think that same thing for me. It was a tough decision, maybe because there are so many of them. And there are also so many I don't care for. So it was just a very, very difficult. Now on to my top 5. Go on.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Well, this list could change if some male singer decides to become a female and starts getting all the.
They could be the number 1 female artist. Listen, I've been told, and I don't mind mentioning this. I've been told that I, kind of sounds like I'm bashing transgender, so I haven't gone into any of that this week.
Okay.
I don't think I have, and I've been bashing the women who are not standing up against the transgender. Anyway, moving on.
That is correct. Go ahead. That's your number 5, sir.
Number 5, 80s as well, but not 80s like yours. 80s
Can
like
I guess?
mine.
Can I guess?
You can. Yeah.
Lita Ford.
No, very good choice. Could have made the top 5.
Okay.
It's Pat Benatar.
Oh,
so Pat Benatar.
Not a huge fan.
I know.
Okay.
I mean, it's not exactly the most popular, I would say, but Hit Me With Your Best Shot, Shadows of Night, Heartbreaker, Love Is a Battlefield, We Belong. I mean, you've heard them all.
My wife and daughter would agree with you. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Like they like her a lot. Yeah.
And she, for just some reason, I don't know. I mean, she just resonated with me. Like
she had an edge.
Look, and she had an edge. And she was kind of, it was coming right out of the, almost this crappy disco era, into that. So I was just like,
hey, I was like, Village People. I love the Village People, to be honest with
you. I'm sure you do.
Number
not
4?
Surprised. Not surprised. I mean, we've heard many lists from you now, and Village People making you loving them. Number 4 is probably going to surprise the crap out of you. A more recent artist, and recent, I'd say within the last 10 years, maybe even 15, but been around for a little bit, but not super long. And that is Pink. If you can believe that. I know.
Love her. Love her. Love her.
Okay, I'm surprised.
I'm going to be honest with you. I actually wasn't even thinking about her.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, because I don't think she would have made my top. She might have been at that 5 level. I do. I
love her.
I enjoy everything she.
Again, another girl with an edge. I mean, these kind of all remind me of my wife in a way, so maybe that's why I'm like.
But I dare somebody out there. I dare somebody out there to listen to a Pink song and not like it.
I agree, and I also dare somebody to listen to that same Pink song live and tell me that her voice is absolutely amazing. And that's kind of some of mine. A lot of mine are they sing live equally, if not better, sometimes than their recordings are. And I just think Pink is a cool ass chick. You know,
and the
I just
acrobatics.
think I like her, and that's that. What's that?
I'm sorry. Did you see the acrobatics in her show?
Oh yeah.
And did you see the training that she did for all that?
I didn't see the training.
Sit-ups, the crunches, because when she's bending and her stomach is folding, that is her voice singing.
That's
she
incredible.
Does not. Yes,
you tell me anybody that can do that. You know,
anybody. Yeah, because that's what I respect about her is because she's like, no, I'm singing live, so I have to have she's
not lip sync. It's not
good choice, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So just a couple stats on this. 75 million singles and 2.4 million DVDs sold. 60 million albums sold. She's had 53 singles in general. Billboard ranked her as the 5th top female artist of the 2000s, 8th top female artist of the 2010s, and the 59th greatest artist of all time.
Yeah.
So, and that came from Billboard. I do have some rankings. Pat Benatar, matter of fact, was ranked 74th on IMDb.
I should have went and looked at my list. I wonder how many.
That was weird. Pink, no ranking. Couldn't find it other than the Billboard, ranked her 59th greatest artist of all time. So, all right. So that is my number 4. And, honestly, could have been my number 1, really. But there are some that just kind of.
I'm curious to see who your number 1 is.
Well, number 3 is probably going to be a weird choice. And you either like this music and you don't. And it's not like it has the most amazing. No, it's not like it has the most amazing career path, but it is Alanis Morissette was my number 3. So
very angry, choice. Very
angry, right? So I've got Pat Benatar.
Yeah, you've got
Alanis Morissette. I guess not like them angry chicks.
Yes, you do.
For some reason, but so some of the stats, she's ranked 24th on IMDb. By the way,
she's got good voice. Good voice.
So she released in '95 her the biggest album, Jagged Little Pill, on there. Sold 33 million copies globally. It earned her a Grammy Award for Album of the Year and was made into a rock musical of the same name in 2017, which also earned 15 Tony Award nominations, including Best Musical. I mean, based off of that. So, I mean, that's pretty good. Songs You Ought to Know, All I Really Want, Hand in My Pocket, Ironic. You've heard of these things. My favorite's Uninvited. I don't know if anybody's heard of that song, but I've heard it. I've heard people remake it. Just a great song. But that is my number 3. My number 2 is probably going to, I'm going to guess my number 2 and number 1 might surprise most people. Again, I go by a lot of times eras of my life and what they meant at the time and things like that, what was happening at the time. And also how they perform live compared to how they sound, do they have a great voice or is it, kind of auto-tuned like Britney Spears in a way. But I'm just saying that. So my number 2, and a little wacky she is Celine Dion is my number 2, if you can believe it or not.
I have no argument with that. I mean, that voice is great.
The voice is amazing, and she's got a lot of big hits, and I don't know why, but it's kind of a guilty pleasure to listen to some of them for me. I like, kind of grungy or heavy metal type of stuff. So when I listen to Celine Dion, it's definitely out of the norm, but I just think she's an amazing singer, and her career has been amazing in general. So ranked 15th on IMDb, if you know that, 15th on IMDb. Now, my number one, and I'm sorry this is dragging on a little longer than I wanted to.
No, it's fine.
But my number one, believe it or not, I mean, do you even have a venture, a guess based on this list at all? What it could be?
You've totally thrown me off.
Number one, Dolly Parton. Yes, Dolly Parton is my number one favorite female artist of all time.
Totally shocked me.
Totally different than the rest.
Country.
I think country girl sold over 100 million records worldwide. 25 songs reached number one. You think about this. This is an era back when, there was the, Tammy Wynette's and there was the Loretta Lynn's and, there's always been female country singers. So breaking into that genre for a female wasn't exactly out of the norm, but to be that popular and of course there's probably a couple of reasons she was that popular. I think we know what we're talking about.
Yep.
So she's very proud of her breasts.
Yes, she is. Always has been.
And her wigs, they're all wigs that she wears. I mean, that's it. She makes no bones about it. But listen to some, not just that. So 25 songs reached number one on the Billboard country charts, which is a record tied with Reba McEntire, a redhead.
Yep. She's a good singer too.
Her career spanning almost 6 decades.
Yes.
I mean, 6 decades.
Phenomenal career.
In 1999, she was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. She's composed over 3,000 songs. She is in a very select group, listen to this, of people who have been nominated for at least one Oscar, Grammy, Tony, and Emmy Award. So all of those she has at least been nominated for.
She's amazing.
So yeah, she's amazing. I mean, it's crazy to me, but that is my, and I don't have a ranking for her, but she is on IMDb, so I don't know why.
Arguably the number one love song of all time.
Which is your I Will
Always Love You.
Which was made famous by
Whitney Houston,
but was not a Whitney Houston song. That originally came from Dolly Parton. Sorry, she's ranked 94th on IMDb.
Yeah.
Way too low if you ask me, but 9 to 5, obviously a big hit of hers. Love is Like a Butterfly, which kind of means something to me and my daughter. So that's, that kind of resonates there. And my wife. And a coat of many colors. I mean, really, my wife is really the big Dolly Parton fan as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can't. I think she's an amazing human being in general. So that's my top 5. That's what it is.
That's actually funny that you mentioned that, because the fact that her human being, the humanitarian and who she is,
who she is,
she is who she is.
Yep.
I mean, there's no bones about it. She is who she is. And I'm going to be honest with you. Your list consists of singers.
Yeah.
And I'll give you that. They're solid voices, solid singers. My list, if I would have done singers, you would have had a couple of those that you had on there probably would have been in my top 5. I did were performers where I enjoyed to watch, where I enjoyed watching.
You got Kelly Clarkson in there, and I do not.
Well,
and
my one, Kelly
a
Clarkson is the singer. Yeah, my
other
who else
is a singer. You know who else is a singer? That, I mean, I would never make your list or mine, but is Ariana Grande.
I'm not I can't understand.
Listen. I know, but listen to her sing songs. I know. You know who else sings great? I think
my daughter loves her.
Phenomenal. Is Miley Cyrus. I think she's phenomenal.
The older she gets, yeah.
Well, I mean, she's phenomenal.
Maturity.
But anyways, Dolly Parton, Jolene, my favorite song ever by her. That's it.
Yeah.
So,
well, remember, I was a country guy. I was a country guy.
I know, and you didn't have a single country person in there.
Sarah Evans would have probably been there, but but I did performers and singers that I just enjoyed watching. Tiffany and Debbie Gibson, do I really think they're because of the 80s and because of growing up, it was there and stuff. But
terrible choices, but they meant something to you.
That's fine, and that's what matters. But no, there's a lot of people. Probably more people agree with your list than mine. My wife probably will.
Maybe. It all depends.
Loves Pat Benatar. She loves Pat Benatar. She will not agree with Alanis Morissette. She does not like her.
I think that's what I'm saying. That's one of those. She was kind of the grunge era type singer. But
the
I
one
recently heard her again singing live, and I'm just like, my God, she is good. I mean, she's just
yeah,
good.
because it's the same thing with like, in my opinion, Adele. That's who I thought was going to be on your list.
Agreed.
I cannot
Okay.
stand it. I
She's
can't.
great,
I
though. She's
can't
got
listen
great
to her.
voice.
I
Yeah.
can't. But Alanis Morissette, her voice, you
Yeah.
either love her or you hate her.
Correct.
And
It's one of
Adele's
those.
that it's just what you like and what you listen to. And
Yeah.
I can't listen to Adele. I just cannot
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Every
Wow.
time it comes on, my family just laughs at me because
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
I have to turn it. Boom.
I'm glad
Boom.
I know
Yeah.
that now. So when we're together next. I'm
It's my car. If it's my car, you can't change it.
Anyway, so please send us in your lists.
Yeah, please.
Let us know what they are. And super interesting. Tough call. We are not having a show next week, but the following week we will be. We have you and I have other commitments next week. And what is going to be our top 5?
We are going to honor one of our loyal listeners, and we are actually going to do our top 5 cutest male actors.
Do you think? I feel that list is going to be easier than female artists. That scares me to death.
I do because it's not like it's these. It's more for us. I hope it's going to be actors we enjoy watching. Yeah, not because oh my God, that guy's dreamy, and stuff like that. Yeah, but I do have some very pretty people on my list.
Oh, okay, all right. I mean, you said so. You said so. Jim, do you want to get into AOCs of the week? I mean, we're at 2 hours now. I don't know if you want to kind of do that.
We got about 4 minutes. Well, my AOC's easy again. Yeah. My AOC's AOC.
Oh, yeah.
She talks about how she agrees with New York's policy, New York's stance on masks in clubs and restaurants and all that. And what do we see? She goes to a club in Florida.
Yep.
Not wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And nobody's calling her out on it. It's just absolutely ridiculous. But
Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida. Yep.
Yeah, and it's like, and the people of New York need look, the liberals, this is what they do. They tell you what you should do. Yeah, exactly. This is what you should do. This isn't what I should do. And
rules for thee, but not for me.
When are we gonna stop? But anyway, that's my AOC. So
yeah, and rightfully so. And Ron DeSantis said if he had $1 for every politician that came from a lockdown state to enjoy his free Florida, he'd be a rich man. That's what he said. I love it. Gosh, I'm going to hate to lose him when he's president of the United States.
Yeah, that's all but hopefully he is.
Yeah, mine is a Schumer of the week, and mine's easy. Mine was easy. It was Antonio Brown.
Wow.
Now, former wide receiver of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, for him walking off the field mid-game, taking his jersey off, throwing it in the stands, doing jumping jacks in the end zone, and waving to the Jets fans as he wandered away, all because what we think we know now is that Bruce Arians, his coach, asked him to go into the game. Yep. Like most football players want to do. Antonio Brown, and he is my Schumer of the week for the way he did that. That's embarrassing. It's ridiculous. He's a spoiled brat millionaire. And you know what? The Schumers of the week should be us fans for accepting that and allowing that and making these people who they are. I mean, we keep buying the tickets. We keep supporting. We buy the jerseys and we, post things on Facebook and tweet, Antonio Brown, great receiver, blah, blah, blah. He got screwed over in Pittsburgh and all that. And we made him who he is. And by we, I mean collective we. I did. But, because I don't care. I don't like the guy. But anyways, that kind of spoiled brat mentality is what we allowed to happen. And so he is my Schumer of the week for ripping his jersey off a pro player mid-game. We probably have all seen the video by now. If you haven't, it's out there and it's everywhere. And he's proud of it. So, anyways, that is my Schumer of the week. Jim, I think that was a great show. I think our top 5 was amazing. Yeah. If you want to get a hold of us, you can on our Gmail, which is 2guys1coup@gmail.com. And you can get a hold of us on Facebook. All you got to do is look up 2 guys, the number 2 guys, 1 coup. We got a Facebook page. And then on Twitter, Jim, did you find us on Twitter yet? Or?
Still haven't been able to find us, dude.
Okay. Well, we're there. and
I believe it.
You know, I mean, I'll double check again, but I'm pretty sure we're there, and it's at 2guys1coup on Twitter. So, I mean, and then of course, you know, we might be going to some other things, but again, thank you for clicking on and watching us on YouTube. If you like what we're doing, or if you got something to say, please comment. But yeah, like, subscribe, share. That's how we get this thing out there. Jim's looking straight down to try to find us on Twitter right now, I think. Aren't you? No luck?
I just found it.
We're on Twitter, guys. We have been at 2guys1coup. You're probably seeing like all the episodes, like the links for the episodes on there and all that.
Oh, and then beautiful pictures of the two of us. Man,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
We're gorgeous people.
We're handsome. If you're only listening, I suggest watching, because you can't get better looking than us. So you really can't. I mean, we're handsome people, and only getting better with age, just like wine.
Well,
so Jim, I'm glad you found us. Great show. Congratulations to your Bengals one last time. We'll see what happens when we come back, because it's going to be roughly, you know, probably 2 weeks before another show's released. Again, next week. Can't do it. You know, we've got obligations that we have to attend to. You know, book signings and things like that. So,
come out and see us at our next book signing.
Carpets and, you know, things like that we have to go to. But anyways, great show. It was great. Thank you so much for the information on BLM. That was amazing. That was great.
And I encourage to go out and look at more. Just go out. It's this. It's not as good as an organization as one might think. So
of course not, and we kind of, I mean, I think we knew that, but the proof's starting to come out now, and that's really the important part, is that people are seeing it, and it's getting
and African Americans are going out against.
That's the most important part of it all. Thank God that's happening. But Jim, thank you again. You have a good week. Appreciate it. Hope you feel better. You're a little under the weather. And we'll see you next show.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.